What is pragnana, absolute consciousness? I am presenting here excerpts about pragnana from talks with Ramana Maharshi. Different English phrases or terms are used in talks with Ramana Maharshi to denote the word pragnana. They are absolute knowledge, full knowledge, absolute consciousness, supreme consciousness, awareness, and pure awareness. A conversation. The waking state is really ignorance, and the sleep state is pragnana, full knowledge. Pragnana is Brahman, so say the scriptures. Brahman, the Supreme Self, is eternal. The sleep experiencer is called prajna, one who is aware. The sleep experiencer is actually pragnanam, pure awareness in all the three states. But its particular significance in the sleep state is that he is full of knowledge, pragnana ghana. What is ghana? There are Nyana and vignana, and they both together operate in all perceptions. Vignana in the waking state is viparita Nyana, that is, wrong knowledge, which is ajnana, ignorance. It always coexists with the individual. When this becomes vipashta Nyana, clear knowledge, it is Brahman, the Supreme Self. When wrong knowledge is totally absent, as in sleep, one remains as pure pragnana, awareness only. That is pragnana ghana. Pure self or being is made up of knowledge alone. How then is pure self to be experienced? Experience is always only with vignana, wrong knowledge. Tripura Rahasya and other works point out that the interval between two consecutive sankalpas, that is, ideas or thoughts, represent the pure aham, I. Therefore, holding on to the pure I, one should have the pragnana ghana as the aim, that is, to remain as pure awareness only as the aim. Another conversation. Devotee. What is pragnana? Maharishi. Pragnana, absolute knowledge, is that from which vignana, relative knowledge, proceeds. Absolute awareness is at present felt through antakaranas, inner organs. But pragnana, absolute awareness, is always shining, even in sleep. If one is continuously aware in the jagrat, waking state, the awareness will continue in sleep also. Another conversation. There are supposed to be two eyes. One is lower and unreal, of which all are aware, and the other, the higher and the real, which is to be realized. Can the world exist without someone to perceive it? Which is prior, the being consciousness or the rising consciousness? The being consciousness, pragnana, is always there, eternal and pure. The rising consciousness rises forth and disappears. It is transient. You are not aware of yourself while asleep. You are aware in wakefulness. After waking, you say that you were asleep. You did not know it in the deep sleep state. So then, the idea of diversity has arisen along with the body consciousness. This body consciousness arose at some particular moment. It has origin and end. What originates must be something. What is that something? It is the I consciousness. Who is this I? Who am I? From where am I? On finding the source, you realize the state of Absolute Consciousness Prajnana. Another conversation. Bhuma, Supreme Consciousness or Perfection alone is. It is infinite. There arises from it this finite consciousness taking on a limiting adjunct, such as the body. This is a reflection of the infinite. Merge this individual consciousness into the supreme consciousness. That is what should be done. The self is only one. Seeking the ego, that is, its source, ego disappears. What is left over is the self. This method is the direct one. Even now, you are the self, but you are confounding this consciousness or ego with the absolute consciousness. This false identification is due to ignorance. Ignorance disappears along with the ego. Killing the ego is the only thing to accomplish. Realization is already there. No attempt is needed to attain realization because it is nothing external, nothing new. It is always and everywhere, here and now too. Another conversation. Visitor. What is Mahat? Maharishi. Mahat is the projected light from Absolute Consciousness. Just as a seed swells up before sprouting and then sprouts and grows, so also the Absolute Consciousness projects light, manifests as the ego, and grows up as the body and the universe. It is the same as cosmic consciousness. It is so before the birth of the ego and the universe. It comprises them all. Just as all the pictures thrown on the screen are visible by the light projected from a spot, so also the body and the other objects are all visible in that reflected consciousness. It is, therefore, also cosmic consciousness. Cosmic consciousness is behind the ego. It may be called Ishvara, God, and the ego is Jiva. The consciousness which pervades even Ishvara, God, is the absolute consciousness. Another conversation. There is only one consciousness, but we speak of several kinds of consciousness as body consciousness, self-consciousness. They are only relative states of the same absolute consciousness. Without consciousness, time and space do not exist. They appear in consciousness. It is like a screen on which these are cast as pictures and move as in a cinema show. The absolute consciousness is our real nature. Another conversation. Visitor. What are Sun Marga and Moon Marga? Maharishi. These are all mental concepts. the man is already overwhelmed by world concepts. Other concepts are now added in the shape of this yoga. The object of all these is to rid the man of concepts and to make him inhere as the pure self, that is, absolute consciousness, bereft of thoughts. Why not go straight to it? Why add new encumbrances to the already existing ones? Another conversation. There is only one, and there are no differences. On meditation, the relative consciousness will vanish. But that is not annihilation, because absolute consciousness arises. Direct your look within and make it absolute. With that absolute awareness realized, look without, and you will realize the universe to be not apart from the realized absolute. You admit your existence in sleep. The same self is now speaking. The self who was undifferentiated in sleep is differentiated in the present state and sees the diversity. The real existence is the only one, devoid of objective knowledge. That is absolute consciousness. That is the state of happiness as admitted by all of us. That state must be brought about even in this waking state. It is called Jagrat Sushupti, that is, wakeful sleep. That is Mukti, liberation. Another conversation. Dhyana, contemplation, and mental japa, chanting, are the same. When thoughts cease to be promiscuous and one thought persists to the exclusion of all others, it is said to be contemplation. The object of japa, chanting, or dhyana, contemplation, or meditation is the exclusion of several thoughts and confining oneself to one single thought. Then that thought too vanishes into its source, that is, absolute consciousness, the self. Another conversation. Self-realization now consists in getting rid of this false idea that one is not realized. Realization is not anything newly got. It must be already there in order that it may be permanent. Otherwise, self-realization is not worth attempting. After the false notion, I am the body, or I have not realized, is removed, supreme consciousness, or the self alone, is left over, which is, however, called realization of the self in the present state of knowledge. However, the truth is that self-realization is eternal and already there, here and now.